What is up, my YouTube family? Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, then it's just welcome to my channel and now welcome back. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button because you will not be disappointed. Unless, of course, your taste level is lacking. I hear there's a lot of people that have that issue. But to everyone else, hi, welcome. I hope you guys have been very well. Girl, I hope y'all been better than me. I'm about to let's just chat for a second in the beginning. And I'll put in the pinned comment where the story actually starts. But y'all who don't give a okay? So y'all know how the brain controls the body, right? Mind over matter. There's a symptom of, well, it's a symptom of a couple of mental disorders, but it's called avolition, and it is when you just physically, like, your mind want to do things. It recognizes there are things that need to be done, but you physically cannot do them. Like, you be trying again, but you can't. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it might look like laziness or like not being clean, because sometimes the task is like cleaning up and you just can't bring yourself to do it. Here you go stepping over, girl, trash and dirty clothes, and you recognize that it needs to be done, but you physically can't. The best way I can describe it is like, I feel like a horse on a leash that's tied to a plastic lawn chair when it happens. Like, before I got a really good understanding of what was going on, I used to be so upset with myself, like, girl, just do it. Like, just move your body, and I just physically cannot. Then you get into self-loathing because you just like, girl, you should be able to do it. You recognize that you should be able to perform whatever task it is and that you just have not done it. So this hit me probably like a week ago. So I've been gone from the channel. This hit me, y'all. I just couldn't bring myself to create no content, do no research, write no stories, retwist my hair. My hair need a retwist so bad, y'all. Ah. I'm gonna get to that. I could not wash the dishes. It wasn't even that many dishes in the sink. I could not do it. Child, I was upset. I was like, you know what? This don't make no sense in my mind. It's just, you get into that, right? You beat yourself up about it. But then I realized, I said, you know what? Being medicated does not absolve you of any of the symptoms. Because, girl, if you had a little piece of cancer and you was doing chemo, things would still be happening, right? If you had a little piece of diabetes and you was on your insulin, things would still be happening. You on your Lexapro, and girl, things are still going to happen. And when I came to that realization, I was like, you know what? Let's lay here. Let's rot. Let's just get in the bed, girl, and let's just rot. You know? Let's just do it all the way. Let's do nothing. And I laid there for a little while, and I don't know what happened, because within 24 hours, it's like I just completely snapped out of it. I was up cleaning up my whole house. I did all of the research for this story we're going to talk about today. In the same day, it's like somebody gave me a little hit of crack. I don't know what happened. But next thing I know, I was able to do all of the things, right? Except for retwist my hair. I'm doing that after this. I wanted to get y'all this video first because I love y'all and I kind of miss y'all. And also, I want to address something that I see sometimes, and that is that I'm not responsive, like on Instagram and in my DMs. Y'all, I told y'all, I have social anxiety for real. Like, I do not be playing. I take them pills for a reason. When I go to those message requests, it's like, I know for a fact, just as sure as the sun rises, I'm gonna see a message I don't like. Somebody gonna say something crazy to me, something judgy, something weird. So just going to those requests sometimes, I just don't be wanting to deal. It comes with anxiety. I'm just like, girl, I want to be comfortable, okay? And what I try to do is, when I open your message and it's not crazy and we have a little interaction, I'll move you to the general folder. That way I just go to my general sometimes and just, I know all these girls are safe. I'm doing my best, y'all. I'm gonna try to be more active in the comments too. I really am gonna try to be more responsive in the comments. Sometimes the girls be trying it though, and I don't be wanting nobody to mess up my vibe. Anyway, I say all that to say, I really wanted to share it because when I talk about things related to my mental health, it helps somebody. I know sometimes people reach out and they're like, you know what you said gave me a better understanding of my child. I get that a lot. Like, a lot of people who are like, bro, I thought my kid was just unpleasant for no reason, got a bad attitude. Like, baby, your child might be overstimulated. Sometimes when you overstimulate a girl, it might come out a little raw. Or if you got a little piece of anxiety, it might come out a little raw, you know? And sometimes it gives people a better understanding of themselves. And then, of course, there are the people who are reminded that they are not in this alone. So I say all that for you guys. And yeah, that's it. Let me get into the video because this is a wild ride. Y'all, today we are talking about Joanna Dennehy over in the UK. Baby, what y'all got going on across the pond is a little wild. Okay, I thought Rosemary West selling that thing to her father was wild. I don't know, Rosemary West might still have her, but this is still crazy. So Joanna Dennehy is born August 29th of 1982. Is that a Leo? Is she a Leo or a Virgo? A Virgo. And Joanna is the firstborn of two girls. She has a younger sister named Maria. Their parents, Kathleen and Kevin Dennehy, raised them in a very typical, very average, loving household, which is in St. Albans, a city in England. Now, as a child, Joanna is very, very charming, very lovable. She was also very bright. She had dreams of becoming a lawyer. And her parents, they supported it. They believed in their daughter's ability to be successful in whatever she had decided to do. And it was very important to them, a goal of theirs, to cover the cost of her tuition so she can just focus on her studies and be successful and not have to worry about working and affording to go to school. She's also an athlete. She plays on the hockey team. She plays on the netball team, which is similar to basketball over here in Miss America, and reportedly overall has a very normal child to teen human experience. She has friends, she fits in, and was always pleasant until she got about 2 years into them teen years. Then things began to change. No longer does she have this interest in her studies and becoming a lawyer. She doesn't even want to go to the school that she is currently enrolled in. She starts skipping and loses interest in school altogether. And like a candle burning down to the very last of its wick, the people around her slowly watch her bubbly personality dwindle into a little bit of darkness. And oftentimes when we see a sudden shift like this in like a kid or a teenager's behavior, it's because something has happened to them, something traumatic. I don't know if that's the case here. Like, even after doing the research, I'm not sure, but I did raise a brow wondering if, and we'll actually get back on that subject a little way down the story. So at 14 years old, she is now skipping school. She is also drinking. She is partaking in party drugs. Mama's is just out here in the street. She outside. And at 15, she is dating a 21-year-old man, John Trainer. Now, her parents, they of course disapprove of this, and they do everything that they can to keep their child away from this man. But everything that they try to get her away from him and return her to her studies, it really doesn't work. And when they apply too much pressure to Joanna, she runs away with him. Her parents call the police. They go out and they look for her themselves. And several weeks later, she and John are found hiding out, not even a couple of miles away from her family home. And she is returned to her parents, but she's there only briefly because mama runs away again. And this time they don't stay in the area. That was the mistake I guess they figured they made the first time. They travel about 32 miles away and settle in a city called Milton Keys. The two of them find a place where they can lay low. And unlike before, there never comes a knock at the door to round her up and return her to her parents. At 16, Joanna becomes pregnant, which she is not at all happy about because she never wanted children. But despite that, she and John welcome a child, and he wants the kid. He's excited about it. And honey, the weight of motherhood, possibly mixed in with a little piece of postpartum depression, sends Joanna spiraling. Immediately after giving birth, she begins using very heavily both alcohol and drugs, and she also begins cutting into herself. And when I say immediately after giving birth, she gets into the things, according to John, leaving the hospital, mama said, I need a little hit or something, okay? She was under the influence shortly after. And I guess she said, this baby gonna be good for something, okay? I'm gonna either find the silver lining on this baby or I'm gonna draw one myself. When her parents asked to see the kid and was like talking about, visitation, keeping the child, she told them if they wanted to see the child, they would have to pay. They would have to pay money to see their granddaughter. And they said, yeah, no, we're not doing that. She completely played that hand wrong because, girl, you didn't even want the baby. You could have dropped that baby off at the doorstep, girl. Ran back off into the woods again with your man. Like, girl, you got to think beyond the headlights on the car. You could have left the baby there. I would have left that baby on the doorstep, child, with a little stork decoration from the Dollar Tree. Maybe a little card, put a little something cute and poetic in the card, like I'm giving them a second chance to raise the daughter I could never be. I don't know. I would have came up with something. She didn't do that, okay? And it probably was because John did want the child. I ain't thought once about the daddy. Her wanting to charge her parents to see this child causes a huge blow up between them and basically ends their relationship. They decide to sever ties with her altogether. And if they thought she was low down then, child, I ain't seen nothing yet, baby. The worst has yet to come. And John is about to find out too just how trifling she is. But that's what he get for carrying that little girl off from her family, but I digress. In 2005, she finds out that she is pregnant again. She gives birth and then spirals even deeper. It's worse than the first time. Honey, all of the things that she was doing before, she even doing on the Sunday. And she is also now cheating on John. Would leave him at home with the children for days on end without answering her phone, without checking in to see if they were all right, if they were hungry. And then she would just show up at home apologizing and asking for John's forgiveness, for them to be a family. You know, this leads to a lot of fighting in front of the children oftentimes, and it just becomes a big cesspool of toxicity. And when she would get mad and inebriated enough, she would hit him in front of the kids. Child, the cheating and the fighting was just a reoccurring cycle. And then Miss Mama started having an affair with the neighbor. She is also carrying around this dagger. I don't even know if I can show this to y'all on YouTube. She carrying around a dagger, child. She would keep it in her boot, pull it out to play with, to scare those around her into thinking she was going to use it on them. And she often used it on herself. She would poke little holes in herself, girl, cut herself. She was heavily into SH. And she even did this little homemade tattoo of a star underneath her eye. It gets to a point where John is kind of afraid, not kind of, he is afraid of her. And he doesn't know what she'll do to him or them kids because, you know, she don't like them too much. By the time their youngest child turns 4, he becomes so concerned about the mental, physical, and emotional well-being of their children that he decides to take them and leave Joanna. This happens in 2009. Now, when John left with the kids, she moved to another town called Peterborough, about an hour or so away from the last city. Child, she went to start her life anew, okay? No husband, no children, no family, none of the things. And there she becomes acquainted with this guy, Gary Richards, aka Stretch. And Stretch here is completely smitten by her. The red flags, they were red flagging, but Gary looked at those red flags and saw 6 flags, okay? He thought she was that girl, but she is just outside really being single, you know, just taking care of her, doing her by herself. Joanna funds herself with sex work, and whatever she either doesn't want to pay for or can't afford to pay for, she just steals. And most of her money typically goes to fund her habits. In 2014, her little actions catch up with her when she has to serve a 14-week sentence for theft. And y'all, look at this mugshot. What you mean by the twist, girl? What do you mean by this hair? What is the meaning of this? What do you mean? Now, while in prison, she is evaluated by a forensic psychiatrist, and she is diagnosed as having paraphilia sadomasochism, which is different from the BDSM. This here is a disorder where the person becomes so turned on by the infliction of like pain, humiliation, or bondage, and the feelings and the urges are so intense that they result in significant distress or impairment. That might be what Diddy got. They need to test Diddy for that. Why they got him? It's definitely a name for whatever it is he got going on. Like this disorder, these people who are diagnosed with this are said to not be able to function well, like at work, in social settings, or other important areas of their lives where they're supposed to be like not be freaky and be serious, and they just don't have control over it. Just completely consumes them.
Have you ever been swallowed up where everything was overwhelming?
Joanna is said to have had a little piece of that. And what also makes this different is like, it isn't like role playing or BDSM, because in that, even if you do a full 360 like titty twister, this is still y'all acting something out. You know what I'm saying? 2 people who are willing participants. Like, yeah, I heard a little. I got this apple in my mouth and I'm hogtied, but I'm here because I want to be here. And I'm playing my role when I say ouch. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference. People with this disorder, they want a real squealing pig, a real victim. Real life insults and real life injury. And Joanna personally is both a giver and a receiver of the things. And I'm just trying to figure out, like, do you get turned on in the middle of a fight? Or like, does the anger and rage just... Well, I would think you would see that as foreplay, so I don't know. So then she is admitted into a psychiatric hospital for like further examination and some psychiatric treatment. There, she is also diagnosed as having antisocial personality disorder with obsessive compulsive disorder on the side. They prescribe her medication to like balance her out, regulate her moods, but I don't know if it wasn't working for her, if she needed a little adjustment, or if she wasn't taking the medicine, because several months after this, she is yet again jailed for a conviction, an assault conviction. She gets out on probation, she doesn't have a place to stay, and all of her bridges are burned. At this point in her life, she comes across 48-year-old Kevin Lee. Now, Mr. Lee here is a property developer who has these properties and he rents out rooms in them to people who are in need for a discounted rate. And child, Joanna's rate was real discounted. She moves into a room and instead of paying him rent with cash, she paying with a little bit of interest, okay? And not only that, she helps him to collect the rent from other tenants when they fall behind on their payments and they have a outstanding balance. She'll go around there, intimidate them, rough them up a little bit, scare them into processing those payments. Now, when she met Kevin, she told him that she had a very rough life growing up, that she had been abused by her father for years, had eventually snapped and her dad and had gone to prison for a short time before being released, and that's why she was down on her luck in life at 31. Child, her father the whole time is alive and well. They just haven't had a relationship in over a decade because she wanted to charge him to see their child. But now she can't even see the child. Ain't that crazy? Not even if she wanted to. This did raise my antennas when I heard that she told this to the landlord, but apparently this is like the only person she had told that version of her childhood to, so I think she was just trying to get sympathy. He believes all of the things to be true and sympathizes with her for it. What's interesting to me is that the medical professional's opinion was that at this time, her like mental disorders were really in there marinating, and because she had not been consistent with her treatment, the lines between reality and fantasy had completely blurred. Now, me personally, I think she was just trying to tug on his thing and his heartstrings. At first I was wondering if something might have happened to her in childhood, but because this is the only person she told this to, appearing to do so for sympathy, I'ma roll with it was a made-up thing. We're still gonna touch on that one more time before we wrap this up. She has said to had stopped taking her medicine completely shortly after moving into the apartment. And on March 30th of 2013, within a couple of weeks of moving in, her landlord is discovered lying in a ditch by a dog walker in a town called Newborough. The landlord was dressed in a black sequins dress and was also left in a way that was obviously meant to demean him. He was left lying with his face down and his behind propped up, and they were able to determine that he had actually died the day before. And on that day, he had scheduled a meeting with Joanna at one of his properties. When he did not return home that night, his wife immediately went to police because he never missed dinner. And not long after his wife reports him as a missing person, his car is found burned and abandoned in a nearby town. And one of the last calls his wife made to him trying to reach him had pinged off of a tower very near the location of the car. So officers go out to speak with Joanna, to see if he had made it to that meeting. And when they get to the property that she is renting her room at, they find a bloodstained mattress in the backyard. But the stains do not belong to the landlord. So it's like, yeah, that's weird and that's suspicious, but we're looking for the landlord. We ain't got time for that right now. Now, while investigating the disappearance of the landlord, they come to learn that one of the tenants that shares the same house as Joanna is also missing. 56-year-old John Chapman. And they also come to find out that there is a third man who is missing, and this third man was also last known to go meet up with Joanna, 31-year-old Lucas. And Lucas has been missing longer than Kevin and John. Now, Joanna had met Lucas on or around March 16th, and 3 days after that had lured him to one of Kevin's properties with some racy text messages, thinking they were about to have a good old adult time, indulging in all of the substances in each other's bodies. Instead, the duo sit and they talk and they drink for a while, and then she blindfolds him, and while he's waiting on things to get spicy, she instead sends her dagger through his heart. And Lucas had told a friend of his that he was going to meet up with a woman that he thought was about to be his new girlfriend. So police knew that much. However, Joanna wouldn't kill her landlord for another 10 days. So they had no idea during that between time who the woman could be. And in between those 10 days, she had claimed another victim, the missing tenant, 56-year-old John Chapman. And she did the exact same to John Chapman that she had done to her very first victim, enticing him and then sending her dagger through his heart. And it was actually his blood that had stained the mattress that police saw when they came by looking for the landlord. So it was the guy she had met and exchanged numbers with on March 19th, and then 10 days later it was both her second victims, John Chapman, the other roommate, in the morning. And then later on that same day, she met up with the landlord, somehow convincing him to put on this sequins dress, or maybe he wanted to put the dress on. I don't know, but he ended up inside of the dress before she took his life. Now she has all of these bodies on her hands, and she is not strong enough physically to dispose of any of them on her own. So you know who she calls? Stretch. And just like a lapdog child, when he is called, he comes running. He also brings a friend, 36-year-old Leslie Layton, to help as well. They arrived to help her transport and dispose of each of the bodies. I don't know why she wanted to humiliate the landlord so bad, but she had them help pose him in a manner that was obviously meant to embarrass him. Oh yeah, she's into that. Maybe that was one to get her aroused. By the time the police make the connection, Joanna and Stretch have already gone on the run. They knew it would only be a matter of time. Now an APB go out for them, and they get a hit from an officer who says that they are investigating a gas station theft that have been committed by the pair that they're looking for. He gives them the license plate of the vehicle that they're driving, and this vehicle is registered to the landlord. Even knowing that they're wanted, they do not make any attempts to hide themselves. Here they are on the security camera footage. They make no attempts to hide from the cameras. They are walking hand in hand, and with Stretch being 7'3", maybe they just couldn't hide, child. Maybe they knew. The pair is quite noticeable. They stay on the road, only stopping for gas or to commit more thefts, more burglaries. They also stole a little camera that they used to take pictures of themselves. And the pictures look like those of a regular old couple, child, on a nice romantic road trip. I guess they were trying to give a little Bonnie and Clyde tea. They go to this town where Stretch has friends and family, and they go to a friend of his, Mark Lloyd. He is the guy that when you steal something, girl, he can get it sold. That's his line of business. He has welcomed them into his home. He's thinking they up to some regular old normal criminal activity. But when they get there, Joanna very openly and boastfully tells them about the crimes they committed and why they were on the run. She also tells him that she wants to claim more victims, and this is just the beginning. They're going on a spree. She sat there playing with her little boot knife that had scared her husband off, honey, and instead of asking Mark if he is going to join them, she tells him that he's about to join them on this little escapade. Now, she was said to be acting very erratic, very hyper, very much under the influence, and was also very aggressive. And so instead of putting up an argument or a debate, he simply goes with, "Ain't that crazy, baby? I would have started yelling, kicking, screaming, and spitting. You're not taking me to the second location. I'm so sorry about it. Because I'm not going with y'all. You just told me you want to kill more men. I'm a man. If I do the math, things is not in my favor. The odds are not forever in my favor, girl." And that's why I probably wouldn't have survived this particular story. Let me just tell you the rest of it. Joanna, she says she needs some cigarettes, but she's already very agitated at the point that they reached the store for the cigarettes. So now she wants to take her frustration out on someone. She tells Stretch to find her another victim, find her some fun, and he just points to the first man he sees walking his dog, and he's like, will he do? The man is 63-year-old retired fireman Robin Bariza, who, like I said, is just out walking his dog about 100 yards from where his house is. So Stretch drives her up close. Joanna gets out of the car and ambushes the man from behind using her dagger. She plunges it into him twice, once in the chest and once in the shoulder. This is in broad daylight. It is right before 3 p.m. And afterwards, she very calmly just walks back to the car and gets in. Stretch takes off and she tells him, like, I need another one, and now. So they drive about 10 minutes. Again, Stretch points out another man that is out walking his dog, asks if that guy will do, and it is 56-year-old John Rogers. She approves him. Stretch pulls up again. Joanna hops out, ambushes the man from behind, but this time she was a lot more crazy with it. He falls forward and then she flips him over onto the ground, straddles him, and is just driving her dagger into the man over and over. And she does so somewhere between 30 and 40 times. And this time she takes the man's dog with her. The little dog's name is Archie. She grabs Archie, walks slowly and calmly back to the car, gets in, and the three of them, well, the four of them now, hit the road, but they're so arrogant, or she's so arrogant, that they don't even leave town. They don't go far at all. They actually just go over to this like strip of shops nearby to browse. And I don't know why she would be out shopping at a time like this, but she is, and the police are tipped off about her location. Or maybe she was just tired of running and she felt like that was enough, because when the police flood the shops all armed and dangerous, she does not attempt to flee, she doesn't run, nor make a scene. Mama does not resist any of the things. And she still had little Archie in tow, like that was her dog. They return him to the owner's family. Archie don't know what the hell going on. I wonder if he still thinks about that day, like, damn, that was crazy. Like, who is that woman? Where is she? Little Archie probably got all kind of anxiety. Now, Joanna here was very calm and cooperative during her police interview, even through the booking process. And down to the police station, she appeared to be in very high spirits. She was very happy, very obviously amused by the situation. They say that she was laughing, that she would not stop flirting with the officers, that she was cracking jokes, making very ugly racial comments. Here it is, grinning and showing its teeth. She complained about the prison clothes and how they would look. And as they led her to her holding cell, she sang out loud, Singing in the Rain. And when her parents were notified that she had been arrested and what for, they were horrified to learn what their daughter had been up to. They had no clue about how her life was going. They had not talked to their girl in over a decade. And for the life of them, they just could not understand how she ended up there. And when asked about the story that she had told the landlord about her past, they completely denied it, said that's the furthest thing from the truth. She had never made any claims before, like nothing was going on. And they say that that part of her story is just as fabricated as her having offed him and spent time in prison for it. Like the whole thing was just a lie. Both men that she had ambushed while walking their dogs miraculously survived the attacks, and they were both able to give accurate descriptions of her to the police, which is how they even got her image to like put everybody on alert about. And John Rogers quoted her saying during his attack, "Oh look, you're bleeding. I better do some more." Now, according to Mark Lloyd, who she intimidated into joining them, she told them that she wanted a total of 9 victims. She said all men, and said it would be solely for her entertainment because it was good entertainment. She expresses that none of them can be women, and that she would never claim a woman as a victim, especially not a woman who has children. And Mark also said that she had pressured Stretch into participating as well. Like, he wasn't excited about the things. He was just there to do the heavy lifting, whatever she wanted. Now, according to Stretch's interview with the police, he said he didn't want to help her at all, but he too had given into his fear of her, that he was afraid of her as well. And so he felt like he had no other choice, which they found hard to believe because he is 7'3". And she is like, I believe she's 5'4". He admits to being enamored by her, but also afraid. And Joanna is in her room telling the police the things too. She told them that after the first guy, she developed a taste for this, and that she has no regrets, and she certainly would have kept going at least to hit her 9 had they not gotten in her way. While waiting for her trial to start, she continues to receive love letters from Stretch, who is still very much enamored by her. And when they confiscate her diary from her cell, in it they find an escape plot that she had been mapping out that involved her cutting off a guard's finger to use to like bypass the biometric system. So they take her little diary, her world domination plans, they put her in solitary confinement until her trial starts, and she sits in solitary for 2 whole years. Which I can only imagine what that did to her little brain child. Her 2 co-conspirators were there ready to testify against the girl, and at the start of her trial, she completely shocked the courts when she stood there and decided she was gonna plead guilty to all of the charges. And then she stood up there yelling, guilty, 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 3 times, staring at the judge, just being strange in court. And they said she was yelling this to the top of her lungs. The professionals then said that that outburst in court was because her narcissistic personality, and they saw it as an attempt to try to like exert some kind of control over the court proceedings, like her final bow, her last hurrah. She is then sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of paroling ever. The judge ordered that she is never to be released, and the reasons cited were premeditation and a lack of a normal range of human emotions. Now, she is currently locked up in the same prison they held Rosemary West with her crazy tail self. I got a video on her if you want to see it, child. Her and that husband of hers, child, a mess. My brain gets to like 89% processing the Rosemary West case, and then it just like kicks it out. It just won't accept the things. Stretch was not let off scot-free. He was also sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of paroling after serving 19 years. And his friend, Leslie Layton, that he brought along to help her with her first 3, was also sentenced to 14 years in prison for his participation. Now, Mark Lloyd, the friend of Stretch's that they picked up child force to go along with, he wasn't ever charged with anything. He was ready and willing to testify against her and was merely an unwilling participant. He was actually a freed hostage, if you ask me. Joanna Dennehy said that she would not let prison get her down or stop her. She actually found love again with her cellmate, Haley Palmer, who is serving 16 years for theft. Child, so they birds of a similar feather. Joanna tried to marry Haley in 2018, but for some reason they weren't able to, and so they made a pact to just leave this world altogether together. Okay, the pact, both of them failed. They pulled the plug, child. The power did not go off. Haley, girl, you have got to do better, and not just by your eyebrows, sister. You have a kid back there, it looks like. Is that your child? And you in jail acting like this? Prison acting like this? Wherever you at acting like this? Haley was released from prison in 2021. Her time was served, and she began petitioning to be allowed to marry Joanna, whom she says is the love of her life and needs to be her wife. And then while Haley is outside, boots on the ground, petitioning for their love, trying to make sure they can make it official, writing letter after letter. And after a year of being free and receiving consistent letters from Joanna that are constantly like romantic, professing her love, her undying love, she said, Joanna just stops communication with Haley altogether, cuts off cold turkey, ghosts her. Now, quiet as it's kept and loud as I'm gonna tell it to you real quick before Blue pulls my arm off. They say Joanna is in there writing letters to the men's, trying to draw in more victims. Says she ain't gotta kill them, that being able to hurt them mentally, emotionally, financially is good enough. You know, it's more than one way to peel a potato, baby. When she probably got off on ghosting Haley the way she did, breaking her heart. You know, she liked that kind of stuff. Joanna's sister and her parents have pretty much disowned her. They don't visit her. They have cut her out of the family photo. John, her ex-husband, he remarried and tries best to like shy away from the drama in the media. They say he and her family got into a little kerfuffle online because they were blaming him as being part of the reason that she spiraled and just went down this wrong path. And he basically said, child, she was already outside, and that's how I came across her. Like, this is y'all's kid. Y'all's doing. Don't blame it on me. One of her daughters did try when they were 16 to like give her a chance, forge a relationship with her, but I don't know the details of it. All I read was that it didn't go too well, and the child learned that her mother is not a good person and decided to write her off along with the rest of the family. And that is it. Please let me know your thoughts down below. What you think? This is a wild one, crazy one. Keep her in jail, okay? I'm scared. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Like the video before you leave. Share the video as well. Subscribe to the channel. As always, I appreciate you so much for spending your time with me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Peace. So y'all know I'm gonna do my eyes first just in case what I have in mind does not come out right, and I can just wipe off the eyes and we can keep going. That feels safe. I told y'all I was gonna do my eyeshadow first. Y'all let me do my base first. That's crazy. Anyway. Surrender, surrender yourself to me. You know what, y'all? My hair up like this, or like in the bun that's messy, the girls be loving it. Every time I have my hair like that, I get compliments. Oh my God, your hair looks so cool. Your hair looks so cool. I love your hair. And it always got that way because I was hot, girl, and I just I never style it. Like, I just get a scrunchie, and however many get in there and however they land is how it is. But the girls be loving it, the little freestyle. Not I'm Mrs. Steal Your Girl. Let me start talking about the story. We 10 minutes in. I ain't said, child, nothing worth saying. Surrender. Today we are talking about Jennifer. No, that's not her name. She ain't Jennifer at all. And Joanna is the firstborn of 2 daughters. She have a child to human experience. Child to human. Child to teen human experience. Then things begin to change. Now, while in prison, she is assessed by a forensic pathologist, not that antisocial network. Not what? I was gonna say antisocial network. Jeez. Child, her father the whole time is alive and well. They just haven't had not a decoration. Concealer. In a couple weeks, I'm gonna be in New York, y'all. Running through the streets, girl, getting on the subway. Now, this is supposed to be the only. Oh no, that's too high. Jesus Christ. And abandoned in a nearby town. And abandoned in a nearby child. However, Joanna wouldn't kill her child, sister girl. I gotta pay the love tax. Sorry. You like the way that lip plump smells? You want some lip plumper? You like some lip plumper? Say hey, y'all. Because you've been and licked off everything. Hey, Piggy, you're so beautiful. Okay, all right, you gotta go, little lick mouth. You gotta go. Child, she done started something. I put her down, then he comes up walking on the left side, looking sad, shaking a little bit, doing the Dobby ears. I love you too, I love y'all both. And Mark also says she had pressured child. And Mark also says that she had pressured Blue, please. Child, I don't know why my babies are acting so, they've been so impatient today. They real stalkers today. Blue, please. Blue is pulling on my arm, y'all. What's the matter with my baby? You got potty? Do you have to potty? You don't have to potty. You want me to love on him? I'm gonna love on you in just a second. I'm gonna pay the love tax in a minute, Blue. Back